Former President Donald Trump will stay on primary ballots around the country, including right here in Colorado. The U.S. Supreme Court has issued a unanimous decision saying that only Congress, not states, can disqualify a candidate using the Constitution's insurrection clause.
It is Super Tuesday today. This means voters in 15 states, including Colorado, and one territory are holding primaries. Today is called Super Tuesday because more delegates are at stake today than any other single date during the primary campaign.
We're going to be following along today as the Super Tuesday results come in. You can follow our updates tonight on air and online at 9news.com. And then tomorrow morning, our political analyst will join us in studio live to break down those results. This morning, we want to hear from you. Are you planning to vote in this election? Our poll is live now, 9news.com/vote now. And while you're voting, let's check in with 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez, who has more on Super Tuesday. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So yeah, county election officials have already started processing the ballots, but initial results will be released by the Secretary of State only after polls close tonight at 7. So as of last night, the state says that they have received nearly 1 million ballots. That's about a fourth of active voters. Almost 500,000 of those ballots returned so far are Republican ballots, but a third of those are from unaffiliated voters since they can turn in either the Republican or Democratic ballots. So let's go over who's actually on your ballot. On the Republican side, you'll see a lot of names, but only former President Donald Trump and Nikki Haley are still in the running. Other Republicans have dropped out. Now, less than 24 hours ago, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that President Trump can stay on Colorado's primary election ballots, so all votes for him will count.
Essentially, you cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way.
It is time for a new generational leader who can leave the negativity and the baggage behind.
Democrats side, it's likely that President Joe Biden will get most, if not all, of Colorado's delegates. There is a non-committed option, which basically means you want a delegate to choose a candidate at the Democratic National Convention, and that's happening in August instead of committing one to right now.
All right, Brianna, thank you.
We want to get back to those results right now. It looks like at this time, 36%, I believe, says yes, 11% says no, and 53% of you say that you have already voted. Don't forget, if you are heading out the door, you can take us with you to keep up to date with all of the latest election news of the day. That is free to download on our free 9 News app and stay up to date on the latest weather, traffic, and news throughout the day. You can continue to also weigh in on our poll at 9news.com/vote now.
6:04 right now. Denver is on the hook for another multi-million-dollar lawsuit related to Denver police. A jury last week awarded a 78-year-old grandmother more than $3 million after a trial that claimed armed SWAT officers wrongfully raided her home 2 years ago. The jury awarded Ruby Johnson $3.7 million. A DPD SWAT team raided her home in January of 2022 while looking for a truck stolen from a downtown Denver hotel. Police got a search warrant on Johnson's Montbello home based on Find My iPhone signals of an old phone left in the truck, but they didn't find what they were looking for at her home, the truck, or cash or guns that were supposed to be in that truck. A jury agreed with the ACLU, which sued on Johnson's behalf, claiming there wasn't probable cause for a warrant. This week, the ACLU said Johnson still lives with trauma from the incident and has since moved out of her home.
She couldn't sleep, she couldn't eat, she's terrified. To this day, she's terrified of taking a shower because the search happened right after she'd gotten out of the shower, had on her bathrobe and her bonnet and her slippers, and was pulled out of her home on a cold January day.
The Denver Police Department declined to comment on the verdict and said they're still looking into the incident.
A man who was shocked with a taser multiple times by sheriff's deputies in Animas County has reached a $1.5 million settlement in his federal lawsuit. Attorneys for Kenneth Espinoza announced the settlement this week. Espinoza's son was pulled over in November of 2022 for a traffic stop while his father was driving behind. When Espinoza pulled off the road behind his son, deputies ordered him to leave. After initially refusing, he started to drive away when the deputies ordered him to stay. He was then handcuffed, taken to the patrol car, and stunned with a taser. Both deputies were fired in August of 2023 after an investigation found their use of tasers was unjustified.
The tragedies at funeral homes statewide in the past few years are prompting lawmakers to look at licensing that industry licensing that industry for the first time in more than 40 years. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is proposing a bill that would require new funeral directors in the state to have a license. It's a direct response to several high-profile cases in Colorado. A funeral director selling body parts in Montrose, funeral directors in Penrose, Colorado, improperly storing bodies for years, and the case last month of a former funeral director in Denver who kept a body in a hearse for a year and a half. This bill would require funeral directors to have degrees in their field for 6,500 hours of experience and pass a national exam and background checks. The bill's sponsor says some funeral companies worry about increased costs associated, but families say it is a small price to pay for their pain.
I understand it's going to be tedious filling out paperwork and going online, blah, 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 blah. It's 5 minutes of your time versus a lifetime of trauma for 1,200 families in the state so far.
If passed, new funeral directors would apply for licenses in 2026. Anyone currently practicing in the state would be required to get a provisional license before then.
People convicted of shoplifting in Aurora would go straight to jail under a new ordinance making its way through the city council. The ordinance already passed its first reading. It would require jail time for anyone convicted of retail theft valued at $100 or more. The first offense would be a mandatory minimum of 3 days in jail. Second offense, 90 days. A third, 180 days. A business owner who's been dealing with shoplifters hope it passes.
We want our customers to feel safe when they come in, and having a law that gives consequences immediately helps us do that. So, and if it does this much, I'm great. If it does this much, I'm better.
Allison Coombs, who's an Aurora City Council member, is against the idea. She says studies show it won't stop people from reoffending, especially if police aren't solving these crimes.
Seems like we're going to be putting a lot of resources into something that is unlikely to be effective, and no amount of sentencing is going to change that. People don't think they're going to get caught.
This ordinance passed its first reading 7-3. It will have its second reading next week.
We're learning more about a lawsuit filed by an airline pilot hurt while on a moving walkway at DIA. Court records show the company that maintains the walkway, TK Elevator, said the pilot himself or a third party may be to blame. It happened back in November of 2022 and was caught on camera. Surveillance video from the airport shows Kenneth Go on a moving walkway when his foot suddenly gets stuck in a gaping hole. He filed a lawsuit saying the incident caused injuries to his foot. Attorneys for TK Elevator are now asking for a trial, but no date has been set at this point.
Following a 6-week audit, the FAA has found multiple instances of quality control issues at Boeing. The audit came after the in-flight door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 in January. It found issues in Boeing's manufacturing process control, parts handling and storage, and product control. The FAA says that leadership at Boeing has been made aware of the findings, which must be addressed as a part of a plan to correct systemic quality control issues. Boeing now has 90 days to outline its action plan.
And you know, we have a chance for some snow toward the end of the week and cooler temperatures. But what about the weekend? Looks like it's going to be pretty nice. Sunshine returns on Saturday with a high of 51, which is normal for this time of year. And look at your Sunday. Partly sunny skies, 60 degrees.